All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Hope everyone's doing well. Well, this is probably kind of the video that some of you have been waiting for. And what we're going to do here today is take a look at some of the most popular, kind of like easiest to find errors and varieties that everyone is looking for right now and people have been finding. And we're going to match up the coin in question compared to what a graded similar type coin grade wise sells for. Now, keep in mind, all the data that we're seeing here today is from eBay and completed actual sales all within the last 90 days. So this is going to give us kind of like that snapshot view of real world pricing between what raw coins go for and what the graded equivalents go for as well. Now, there was a few coins, obviously, that were quite rare that I had no choice other than to settle for what was available either in sold listing and or what's currently available that no one has touched yet. All right, so that's key. We do have one coin that fits that criteria, but also at the same time, this might also be kind of a wake-up call to possibly consider grading this coin. We'll see. We'll get there when we do. But before we jump in, a few little kind of housekeeping things. The consultations are coming to a close. Effectively, the end of this month. It's just way too much for me to work with a lifestyle and a family and all that stuff. I've missed a few meetings, and my apologies. Refunds have either gone out or will be going out here by the end of the week. But also have the other folks that are still slated to do a consultation between now and the end of the month. You guys are all set. I have a few slots available. I may just discontinue it right now and just go with what I have left. Just for the sake of sanity sake. It was a fun experiment. I got to meet a lot of great people, and I would say, for the most part, it was 100% overwhelmingly positive. Not only toward but I like where the future of the hobby is going. And by getting your guys' kind of like firsthand impression of not only how I'm doing as a content creator, but overall how the hobby is doing in general, as far as how fun it is, the challenges, being able to address that, being able to address things regarding eBay, reselling, things like that. I think we're heading in the right direction. And the more that we continue to foster the best educational work plan to a lot of folks using the power of social media, things like YouTube and Facebook and various other platforms, I see nothing but good things coming. So, thank you. Thank you guys again for that. And my deepest, sincerest apologies to the folks that I missed. It's way too much. I'm not afraid to admit that. Call me out, do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, I'm human just like a lot of you. So, that's the first thing. Second thing, Vault Box Series 2 sold out just like that. 1,600 or so boxes, which is double the output. Sorry, let me close that there. Ended up disappearing as quickly as you could blink an eye. So a lot of people enjoyed it. They enjoyed Series 1, and they've elected to continue on. So if you guys did get one, congratulations. I elected, after thinking about it, to not obtain one after all of the flack I got for purchasing a Series 1 box and getting a 1-ounce platinum piece in there. I had a lot of pitchforks thrown at me. It wasn't fair because it was my money. They're my coins. They're going into my eternal collection till the day I die. So, but people were judging me, saying I had too much influence with Vaultbox and everything like that. And that couldn't be further from the case. At the end of the day, it was just a decent box. But I know a lot of people didn't do as well. And again, I'm sorry that that's the way it ended. But at the same time, I shouldn't be held accountable for the results that other people are getting, even though I just got one box. So that's why I wanted to throw out there. I bowed out of this one, to save aggravation. And even if I did get one, I wasn't going to share with you guys the results. I wasn't going to do a box break or anything like that. So, that's just how I've been kind of thinking about it, and I elected not to do it. In any event, we do have a Vault Box sample slab that was provided by Blake Donan that we are going to give away a week from Friday on our next Whatnot auction stream. So go ahead and check that out. I'll probably post the actual Whatnot auction stream maybe Sunday night, Monday, somewhere around there, so that way we could get the things rolling. But yeah, no stream this Friday. Just wanted to throw that out there. Sorry about that. I guess you could have just fast forward all the way to the bits and goodies, but let's go ahead and get started, shall we? So first coin up on the docket here is a 2,000 piece Sacagawea dollar, affectionately referred to as the Wounded Eagle error or variety, or however you want to call this thing. It is indeed a cherry picker's guide variety. Very popular, very common. You could go through $1,000 phase if you had, they made millions of these. They made tens of millions of 2,000p sack dollars, and you could go through $1,000 face of rolls or bags or whatever your flavor is, and probably end up finding a few of these. They're that common. So here's one example that ended up, I'm trying to use the best kind of most recent examples on the completed sales list. This one is April 5th, sale for $149. I'm just going to keep the shipping off of it and just use however much it's sold for. If you guys need a little bit of a refresher, this particular seller circled it really well on this close-up photo that they probably used a microscope to get in close. But you can see that that die gouge, that scratch, it goes through the breast feathers and into the wing. And generally there's a second die gouge in there as well. So it's a double die gouge, but this long one right here, it looks like a spear weapon. That's why they call it the Wounded Eagle. They call it the Speared Eagle. It goes by a few similar names. So in this particular instance, this particular coin sold for this amount of money raw, so you're getting an ungraded coin. A similar, and keep in mind the condition, it's in pretty good shape. I'd say, looking at it, we're probably talking about a mid-state 63 perhaps as a grade. I probably wouldn't go any higher than that. It's just a decent looking coin. Now, one did sell in mid-state 64, okay, right here by NGC. This was April 16th for the sale. One bid, $240.97. By Love That Coin Guy, which has a pretty ridiculously high feedback rating. So this is important right here on the label. It says Speared Eagle on there. So that's the attribution for the coin. All right. And so the question is it worth grading this coin? Well, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about how much grading fees on something like this would cost. Whether you use NGC or PCGS, the average price is going to be about $30 to $35. All right. And on this particular coin, you'll probably have to kick in a little extra money for the variety attribution, because if you don't do that, they will not put it on the label. That's important. So whatever amount of money is worth spending on something like this for grading, you have to keep in mind that you have to take that off the top as far as the amount of money that you spent to invest in the coin before you sell it. So with something like this, you're paying, probably with shipping and the whole 9 yards, about $50 to grade it. Now, in the grand scheme of things, does that make it worth it? Well, by the time you add in the $50 to the price of a raw coin, you're automatically at $200. And then you have to take into consideration shipping and also the eBay fees as well, which is 13% on the total amount. So this person right here that sold this coin for $240, you have to take 14% off that. So that's it, end up being like $30. Is it worth it to grade it at this particular level, which is kind of like a middle of the road mid-state grade? Probably not. All right. It's just not worth it. If they're selling for $150 in mid-state condition, kind of like average mid-state condition, then just go ahead and sell it raw as it is. Okay. The next coin right here is one that we're all too familiar with. The Wide AM 2000 Lincoln Memorial cent, and you could probably add in the 1998. Now there's a block of dates: 98, 99, and 2000. These all have the potential of finding the Wide AM transitional reverse, which is simply just a inadvertent use of a proof die on a few of these business strike coins. These, to this day, are still being found in droves in circulation. Again, they're not rare. They're probably an R1 on the rarity scale, which means they're very plentiful. Probably tens of thousands of these existed. And I would imagine that probably enough of these were produced that it went through a full set of dies. Where Lincoln Cents has the highest usage rate of dies, where, it wouldn't be out of the question for the mint to produce maybe 500, 600,000 coins from one set of dies. So take a look at this coin right here. It's actually a really nice premium example for not being graded. All right. And then someone will look at this, and there you see the gap there between A and M. That's what you're looking for on this as the variety. Some people will look at this coin and are like, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Should I grade it? And I get that question all the time on kind of like what I consider marginal value type of coins. It's like, it's only worth, like this one sold for $35. It's only worth $20, $30, $40. Should I grade it? Well, it really depends on what your outcome wants to be, what that end game is. Is this a resell, or is this something that's special enough that you could keep it into your collection, but just know that it has a little bit of value at the end when you decide to cash out? So keep that in mind. Always ask yourself these important questions before you do this sort of thing. The same things still apply. You have to pay for the grading fee. You have to pay for the attribution fee. You have to pay for shipping, not only going to PCGS headquarters or NGC or Annex for that matter, but you also have to pay for it coming back. All right. And then same goes with the eBay auctions. You're still a slave to the 13%. You still have to take care of that shipping if you're doing free ship. So with this being said, is it worth it with a coin that sold for $35 here in the last 3 months to grade this? Well, unfortunately, I found one example that actually I believe is a much better condition coin to the one that we just saw raw. This one ended up selling in the same time frame, and it's a NGC graded mid-state 65 red. A gorgeous coin, FS 901 variety, Wide AM, and it sold for $75. Okay, this is a hard pass. But I want you guys, to anybody that's watching this, I want you to use this particular coin as kind of a measuring stick for all of your other, what I consider sub $50 minor coins, right? Things like other varieties that may not necessarily be an FS listed number, because you could always send these out to NGC and use the Variety Plus attribution, which are for coins that are not FS listed, but still are like top rated varieties like RPMs and double dies, things like that. Also minor errors, like if I had to guess, strike throughs, clash dies, smaller cut die breaks, coins like this, small off-center strikes, all that stuff. These are what I consider kind of like fringe valuable, yet cheap enough that you shouldn't grade it type of fare. The 2000 Wide AM in like mid-state 66 and under, I would not consider sending this coin out to any third-party grader for any amount of money. Unless you're really McLovin' it and you want to add it to your collection and just keep it there for the rest of your life, don't grade it, especially if you have aspirations of reselling these to try and make money. All right. And I know a lot of resellers, they are kind of immune to the fact that grading even exists, especially when they're trying to flip errors and varieties. And the sentiment I hear all the time in the community is, you just don't need to do that. You're pissing away money grading these things. You know, there are much more deserving coins out there. The older type coins from the 19th century, high graded specimens that aren't in holders, those certainly deserve its time in a plastic prison like this. All right, let's go to the next coin here. We're all too familiar. Again, another coin that has a pretty decent amount of money, but should you grade it? This is a 2004 Denver, Wisconsin statehood quarter. Now, if you're lucky enough to find these with either the low leaf variant or the high leaf variant, congratulations. You have a coin that right out of the box can get you a full tank of gas if you're driving a mid-sized sport utility vehicle. Yes, that's a win. As we get closer to Memorial Day, finding more of these coins will help fill up your gas tank. But does that mean you have to grade these things? Sure, they're special. They were probably intentionally made, you know, but really, should you even put these into a graded holder? In case you guys are wondering, that's what it looks like. This one has a little bit of a low leaf that isn't on the regular coins. All right, there's a high leaf variant as well, which is a smidge a little tougher, a little bit more expensive in the marketplace. This one sold just 2 days ago for $82, 25 bids. So this was organically bid up. There's no smoke and mirrors here. That was just what it sold for. A graded example. One sold a few days before that, April 15th. Check out the grade. Mid-State 65 through PCGS. $136.50. Oof. Oh, that hurts. Because considering that the previous coin doesn't even look remotely close to being Mid-State 65, and that's even with the washed out photos, that coin is probably a Mid-State 61. It does look a little bit circulated. It's not at all a premium coin. Now, this is much more like it. Doesn't it make you feel good that you could buy an already graded Mid-State 65 coin with the variety right on there? I mean, look at that thing, that little leaf. How cute it is. It's actually touching the top of the cheese wheel. I feel like I'm in heaven when I see that. And this, ladies and gentlemen, $136.50 means that you will not grade these. I guess a really one big insinuating circumstance where you would, and you feel confident that this coin would grade at like Mid-State 67, the coin would shoot up over $1,000. But if you're unsure about your grading acumen, I would probably avoid doing it altogether, considering that these coins right out of the box raw have a lot of value. Keep that in mind. All right, so here's another popular one that I get a lot of questions on. Dang it, Sean, the 1988 P&D Lincoln Cents with the reverse of 89, affectionately referred to as the wide AM reverse, the flared G in the initials reverse, the FS901, a transitional error, which means they accidentally used the reverse dies of the 1989 Lincoln on an 88. Man, there's so many different verbiage going around on this coin, but should you grade this one? Well, I'm happy to say that this one ended up selling for quite a nice sturdy amount of cash. April 6th brought home a total sale of $51 with 7 bids, organically bid up. Check out the condition of the coin. It does have a few carbon spots. Admittedly, it's not the perfect coin, but heck, for the money, you can't really go wrong here. And it's a very popular variety. But when we look at the coin itself, it does have the wide AM. Looks nice. It's got the flare G. It's got that little drop down little bar, that extends beyond the curl of the bottom of the G, which is what you want. But I was able to find another example that did sell here recently on April 12th to be exact. Note the grade, PCGS Mid-State 67 Red, which is an absolute bomb of a grade, and it's the only one that's sold graded, all right, within the last 90 days. That probably tells you something. $2,600, all right, that's a lot of cheese if we're borrowing cheese from the Wisconsin quarter, all right. So this coin, if you look at it, does not have any of the carbon spotting, although it does have a little bit of field scratch right here. When we look at the reverse, very clean. This is a very clean, very presentable coin. When we look at the slab, Mid-State 67, FS901, if you could confidently say that your coin looks like this is one I would grade all day long. But if your coin looks like this, with some carbon spots and things like that, these graders will net grade it. All right. If this thing ends up Mid-State 64 or 63 because of those carbon spots, you're probably going to be around $100 on the coin. And in that case, it's not going to be worth it. It would be too much of your time and trouble. And even if you did make $10, $15 in profit, you got to keep in mind that these coins, they don't turn around and come back to you until like 30, 45 days. So you have to wait a month and a half for these things to come back. Will it be worth it then? That's really the question you guys have to ask yourself. And then finally, the coin that made all sorts of headlines, and even to this day, this is still a wildly valuable coin. This is one that might actually shock you. The 2022 Wilma Mankiller quarter with the both obverse and reverse retain cud die breaks. So this is a coin that I've talked about in just great detail and probably enough to make you guys nauseous. You can see that retained cud die break right there above Washington's head. We also have the long crack, retained cud crack, or whatever you call this thing going through the star. This is truly a monumental coin, a rarity from the last 5 years. All right, this is the one right here that everybody got excited about. It got as pricey raw. I think one or two examples hit $1,000. But this coin has been out for close to a year, all right? So other subsequent further examples that people are finding out in the wild are going to be a little bit circulated. So I want you guys to keep that in mind because there is a pretty big hurdle that we all have to jump through to ensure that this one is grade worthy. And what number is that? Mid-State 65. Your coin has to be Mid-State 65 or higher for these things to be taken seriously. Now, here's the one caveat to this. I found two examples that are currently available on eBay that no one has bought yet. So we don't know an actual market value of a graded example. But if the $3,800 starting price tag is any indication, this is going to be a four-figure coin if it reaches Mid-State 65. I will probably go out on a limb that even as low as Mid-State 63, 64, that's going to be easily a $1,000 plus coin. Now, what's the highest grade of these? I believe there was an example that ended up graded as, I think, a 66. And I don't know if that one sold, to be honest with you. But when we're looking at coins like this, ladies and gentlemen, we have to kind of weigh in the rarity aspect of it to the ultimate market value. Can you imagine in the perfect kind of storm, this coin right here, someone buys it, even if you paid, I'm just going to throw out a number, $2,000 for it. Can you imagine a low population count on these coins 10 years from now? What do you think a coin like this would be worth? $4,000, $5,000? Maybe more? I don't know. But what we do know that if the mint cleans up their act, like the new mint director says she will, we may not see coins that look like this ever again. This is kind of like a black swan event. It's crazy. Yeah, the prices have fallen a little bit on these coins raw. But I want you guys to keep in mind, most of what's being found are really well circulated to this point, and people are still selling them for $300 to $500 on the worst of days. And these again are coins that I would say favorably they should be graded. Like here's another one. This time with just the obverse cud die break, This one is a mid-state 62. And this seller is asking $1,125. So when you could get this kind of, coin graded in a holder, even if it is a mid-state 62, that's pretty important to collectors of these errors. Is it worth $1,100? Probably not, because, first of all, the seller has a make offer button, so they're willing to listen to lower offers, but $400-$500? Possibly, considering that all the other examples in similar condition have sold for between $150 and $250 for just the obverse cut die break. So there you go. That's kind of like a little bit of a primer for you guys with grading coins from across the board, from the most minor of stuff all the way up to the highest. I mean, in reality, there's really only one coin, maybe 1.5 coins. The Wilma Mankiller in the highest possible grade that you can find on the open market. I would say that's a huge hit right there. The 1988 Flared G reverse of 89 is another one that if the grade was right and you had a premium specimen with no carbon spots and it's clean, wow, that would be one that I would possibly entertain getting graded by either NGC or PCGS. If it comes back a 67, that's going to be a $2,000 to $3,000 coin. So as you can see, not everything is grade worthy. There's some pretty big varieties that we talked about today in this video, and you have to keep in mind, the coins sell for themselves. You have to really think about at what point does grading elevate it to the next level, right? Because there's a distinct difference between a $500 coin and one that could sell for $2,000 to $3,000. You need to know where that capitulation point is in order to have any success with grading. But that's going to require a lot of research. Do the research, and you'll score wins like this. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Thank you guys for tuning in this video. Hopefully it wasn't too long. You guys hate the long videos, but I love discussing these with enough depth that you guys understand. If you do that, you should be in good shape. All right. But that's it. I'm Sean with Blue Ridge. Hopefully you guys are going to have a great day. Good luck. You're in our hunts. And I'll see you guys on the next coin video as always.